Bad Macro Flip Bird, the easiest name to say in the game, taking on Ascendance in the Shiny League Emerald level event. Winter semifinals. It's going to be exciting. We haven't seen these two squads, or been able to cover these two squads in a bit. There is a little bit of difference in the character loadouts. We're going to talk about that in a second. What I want to talk about here is Ascendance's run to the winter semifinals. An absolute buzzsaw. Zoinks, run me through those teams.
Yeah, honestly, the names that you're about to hear on this list would make any Unite player shake in their boots if they saw them on the other side of the ladder. The teams that they ran into was, in order, they ran into Team Millennium, Team Sucker Bunch, Team Shiny, and now they're facing down the ugly maw of Bad Macro Flip Bird. An incredible amount of teams, all teams that you've seen on our channel, and we've had the pleasure of casting, and you know that means they are a top level team. Ascendance, no slouches. I think every person who's covering this scene has them within their top 5. An incredible team in their own right, but so is Bad Macro Flip Bird. Both of these teams have found amazing success, and now they are fighting each other in winners finals to see who can earn that spot in the grands.
Well, truly forged in fire if they do make a berth to the winners finals here. As we get down to the action, because these teams are ready, let's talk about the differences in the squads. Sure. Everything looks the same except for those two kind of tanky-esque support Pokemon. Talk me through it.
Sure. Well, we are watching right now Bruv on that token, Mr. Mime. Bruv, easily the best Mr. Mime player in the world. I think that's undisputed at this point. We've seen it again and again in tournament play and, of course, on stream and ladder and all things like that. But on the other side is Excellent, the Wigglytuff player for Ascendance. I think that Excellent on this Wiggly is, if not number 1, maybe number 2, and I think that spot fluctuates constantly. Excellent is an incredible tank player.
Absolutely. Chris here is able to take the first contestable Audino here, but it looks like Excellent to the player you were just mentioning, able to take the Audino from BMFB's side of the board here. And now they just keep taking their stuff. They're pressuring them very hard. Ascendance feeling good, working on the opposite side of the map here as we jump up and see Overlord working on Dexter a little bit and going to kick back to their goal zone, back to Excellent, who really wants to get to that level 4 to pick up Sing.
Mm-hmm. You just noticed in that first fight when Ascendance was pushed up all the way to the opposite Audinos on their side was the amount of poke damage that Curiosa and the rest were able to put out. That made Snowpoints have to retreat all the way, allowing them to push even farther up.
The whole big snatch by Overlord there, diving in on Dexter, able to get some Bs, and now they're pressuring with Jungle Book, their jungler, who's currently a Dragonair, as they're working into the middle. But we check back in Cryos, Mopwop, and Excellent, contesting again in the Audinos, really poking in and doing work. Really want to see Bruv get into this action because I think they're the key to unlock a lot of doors for this squad to start picking up some levels, as Snowpoints is desperately trying to get to that Eldegoss. And there they are. Bang.
Yeah, Bruv, maybe not making a lot of flashy KO plays, but it's definitely winning in that experience war versus Excellent. 5.5 to about just almost 5. Excellent running in with that Sing, but unfortunately that light screen from Mr. Mime going to be preventing Curiosa from getting any engage there.
Yeah, Bruv really fighting to get to that level 6. That's when we get that big confusion blast and the damage output really ramps up. There you go. That's a KO. Eldegoss on Eldegoss crime. One cotton ball versus another. Snowpoints getting the better of that exchange. As, of course, all of Ascendance is forced to reel a little bit. But here the junglers, they're pulling up and they're trying to do work. Gosu was putting the pressure on and forcing them back into the goal zone here as all of Purple Squad retreats, not worse for wear.
Yeah, a lot of HP trades on either side, 4-on-4. But right now, Ascendance, the only advantage they have may not be in level, but it is in points. 18 to 52, they do have a decent advantage in terms of that.
Absolutely. I mean, another contestable mob in the middle there. And both of these teams now, it seems like they're playing a little reserve. Excellent going to try and pick somebody up. Bruv susses it out. Did you see that? You can't hide from the mime getting it with that psychic-based uppercut. And, of course, the light screen goes up as they're able to get a good amount of Bs. But Jungle is the first Dragonite here and able to get a KO back. And here we go. I believe it was Excellent that just went down first off of the other Dragonite there. But we're working through here as we're just fighting through these screens, and it is just keeping everybody out. Bruv is meticulous with those, and it serves him right. As that Overlord coming in that was trying to get cheeky gets blasted in the back by a Dragonite, and now Jungle Book themselves trying to make their impact felt, but they're getting sussed up by Dexter and eaten up by Dexter on the nose here as everybody's working through. Unite move comes down, and there you go. That's the Dragonite sealing up Dreadnoughts, and we've seen that all day long, and you know what? Cherry on top, KO streak of 2.
Incredible mechanics out of Bad Macro Flipper, specifically out of Gosu. Gosu on that Dragonair was actually a level behind Jungle Book until they were able to thread the needle and find that KO on Excellent. Move them up to the Dragonite, and you saw what Hyper Beam could do. But oh my word, Overlord just decides to eat up all the HP out of Bad Macro Flipper.
That was an E-Speed clinic there as Bruv is already working on Rotom. That wall confused blast and move with Dexter is able to seal that up before Orange can even contest here. Ascendant's going to not even bubble too hard on the goal zone, as of course that's unlocked, and now the points can start raining in. They're going to make sure they get the overcaps right here and make sure their points go in order. Dexter hiding out from Overlord, just trying to wait the last moment to get their 30 banger in, and T. Dexter working through the B is going to see if they can pick up a couple more points maybe before this timer goes down on the Rotom. There you go. They're making their move. They have a full pocket of 40. Easy Duggets, 39-point overcap.
Textbook plays out of Dexter, is able to work it and trades their life for it, but it was completely worth in every sense of the word. Bruv probably gonna go down, but no, Gosu throws in the Unite move to save his main tank. Incredible maneuver from Gosu. However, that Unite move being on cooldown might be a problem for this second Dread. Worth it or not? That's the scales you have to balance in terms of a game that happens this fast, and when your Unite move takes a decent amount of time to come up. Gosu going to try to break this and give them an extra advantage in this second Dreadnought fight. Maybe a good idea, since they currently don't have the Unite move.
Mop Wop gets eaten up by the big old dragon there. Gosu easy peasy says, I've done my role. I'm backing out. This is the purple team meets the orange team here in the middle. BMFB putting some pressure on. And those light screens are, I thought they were going to start coming out there, but Snow Points gets the Leaf Tornado in, and Bruv HG backs off. But here we go. Unite move on to Dreadnought to kick this thing off. And now it's both junglers going after it here. And we're going to see who lines up the right timed Hyper Beam. And it is Gosu again. Getting it again for BMFB. And Jungle Book now is caught with her pants down between Snow Points, and that Hyper Beam went errant as Gosu gets a KO on their counterpart here. Now it's more Pika crime here. Everybody's sussing out their counterparts in this mirror world of a mirror match we've got here, and they're taking each other out.
Yeah, no goal to score on with that early advantage because Gosu broke that tier 1 goal zone early, but that does mean that they're going to start to rotate and find all the farm on their map. You notice that Chris is even dipping into the jungle right now, trying to get up to that level 13. Overlord posturing, getting these top Bs, earning that XP, and making sure those AOS energy goes in their pocket instead of Chris.
Great wall there by Bruv, but Overlord darts right through and uses E-Speed to get in there. That's a Unite move by Bruv, and they're going to see if they can pick up a couple KOs here, and that's a Unite move back to get those buddy berries. Now Jungle Book is going to be responsible for closing some stuff out, but Overlord gets back into the action because it's E-Speed, baby, and we getting in there as all these things are kicking off. You saw something, tell me something.
I just saw Overlord putting on a clinic of how resets work. Oh my word. With the combination of Overlord and Jungle Book setting that up, and I do want to mention a small micro play that Mopwop and Jungle Book set up constantly. You see that Leaf Tornado thrown in to speed up Jungle Book to get closer with that Hyper Beam, but also to slow down the enemy that is trying desperately to escape that high damage ability. Every time they try to do that, they're stuck in that Leaf Tornado and have nowhere to go, and Jungle Book is able to get that instant delete on that Hyper Beam.
What's even more impressive about that is that's such a synchronized maneuver that's not something that they're shouting on the comms. That's something that they've just gotten through practice, and they know how to move as a unit, and they don't have to make those calls. They got to save their voices for more important stuff here as we're watching Excellent eat up all these Bs in the bottom lane, and Dreadnought's just about to come. 10 seconds till that. 2:44 on the clock here as we have our last objective, it seems, before the mighty bird in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. Both teams favoring this Dreadnought definitely and posturing. Jungle Book already starting to hit the Dreadnought, but Bad Macro Flipper is now trying to match coming through that middle lane.
Bruv HD going to try and isolate somebody out. And there we go. Finally, Jungle Book able to get a Dreadnought of their own. It's the last one of the game here. 22 seconds until that big bird in the middle. As I mentioned, Jungle Book holding full pockets, level 13. Cryaos in the middle there with their points. They're chasing them down. And we kind of see this orange wall beginning to form across the middle here as we see Gosu posturing. Bruv is running right down the pike, and they're going to start slinging up walls, seeing if they can cut them down from the bottleneck. Good blast into the wall without having to use a wall here, and they're kicking off the action. Overlord's the first one in. Those E-Speeds have been working magic for them tonight, and now all of Orange is just dispersing a little bit as we see, an 80-point gap here with BMFB in the lead.
Okay, Overlord using that Unite move to survive, has a little bit of barrier but needs to run. Snowpoint's fighting the KO on Excellent is actually massive. That's going to initiate Bad Macro Flipper to charge the Zapdos. Right now we're watching Overlord try to escape with their life, Italian Job style, and is all the way in the other side of Autonos in their Bad Macro Flipper jungle. This Zapdos is already at half HP.
Third HP, 10 HP, it's gone. And there we go. The left side, the right side, the left side takes it. I'm watching Jungle Book. They're trying to back cap here, and just all of BMFB is scrambling. They're already up by 80, as I mentioned. Make that 180 as more points are rolling in. But look at where all Ascendance is. It's only Excellent. It's back trying to play defense, and we're going to see how many points they can get in on this back cap action. And I don't think it's going to be enough, as they're still down by about 330 some change here. And there you go. Dexter's moving to the middle, and they're going to get their hundo banger in too. I think it's fair to say that BMFB went ahead and locked down this game one and the winners semifinals, but Overlord is not going to let them go without trying to punch their tickets here. As Gosu Easy Peasy lets them know what a Hyper Bean's all about here.
Yeah, right now Bad Macro Flipper just dunking in their face with this gigantic point gap. But I think Jungle Book and company, realizing that there's only a minute left on the clock when this happened, is going to give it a shot. And right there you see the Dragonite, I'm going to say it, broken ability to score late game. Those buddy barriers coming out of their Unite move, when they land, is massive, and there is no way that any defender is going to be able to pop that buddy barrier as they score. So a really nice play to just get in a few more points. But yes, you are right. I believe this game is definitely going in the favor of Bad Macro Flipbird. Ascendance made it close there at the end, but BMFB ends up taking it right at the last minute.
Yeah, again, the strength of Zapdos, those ducats, the double buckets coming in, and I think 4 players were able to convert there for BMFB. And that's nothing to scoff at here, as that's a win by just shy of 400 points there.
Yeah.
Taking a look at the battle data here, something a little new that we've got going for you here as we clicked through the move sets. But I didn't see anybody with a terribly huge amount of KOs, etc.
Yeah. Overlord with 81k damage on a losing game. But unfortunately doesn't seal him the win.
Yeah, well, those E-speeds were just putting in work. Let's be honest, right? I mean, you said it yourself. Great clinic on how resets on that move work, and we did get to see some really good synergy from Ascendance. So although they didn't necessarily win game one, we can certainly see where their cohesion and synergy could have carried them against, and did carry them against, a lot of the other teams that they've already beaten so far in this tournament. So let's go ahead and put a button on this one. Let's gear up for game 2 here between Bad Macro Flipbird and Ascendance. Kirk, doobsnax, Dubé, Josh, Zoinks, Hiebert. We'll catch you in a second. Bad Macro Flipbird leads Ascendance 1-0 in this winners semifinals of the Shiny League Emerald level event. Last one before the big old tournament here in the next coming week. Zoinks. We saw some really good plays out of Ascendance, and things just kind of come apart at the seams there at the very end. Bad Macro Flipbird never seemed to have too much pressure on them, but a few moments in the game that they were able to recover from very quickly. So while these teams are queuing up here and we see that there's no Pokemon changes, talk to me a little bit about how can Ascendance, kind of leverage those really nice moments that they had in game 1 and use that to kind of carry through and use a common theme to kind of get a W here in game 2.
Sure. I think it's going to come down to 2 things. One, you can't lose early game as hard as they did. Definitely, they were contesting right at the beginning, but after Mime starts getting those levels and getting that early level lead on your opposing main tank, it's going to be a really tough uphill battle for Excellent and company in that bottom lane. So that's going to be my first one. They need to clean up that that bot lane game. And that will definitely make things a little bit straighter and narrow in the rest of the game. The other thing I want to see them do is be a little bit less predictable in their Zapdos fight. We saw Bruv doing just that classic barrier, cutting off that middle route on the Zapdos fight, which then prompted all of Ascendance to move and swing in from that top side. But that's such an easy prediction from Bad Macro Flipbird to read. They move there, they chase down Overlord, who just can't survive even after using all those Unite moves, and they just clean up a few KOs and immediately swivel and take out Zap. What I would like is to have a little bit more of preemptive planning around that Zapdos. get set up and try to be hidden from bad macro Flipbird. Try not to give them as much intel and find an angle in that way. Even if it is your whole team charging in one direction, try to make it a little bit less predictable so the bad macro Flipbird collapse is a little bit less.
These teams are ready, so we're dipping down to the action here. I thought for sure when we were watching that game one that Ascendance was going to come in kind of like at a wall and each come in a unique area because they were kind of moving that way, all those orange pips across the map, and then they still kind of got caught into that bottleneck, as you mentioned. So I would love to see maybe an employment of what I assumed was going to happen game one until they kind of switched gears on me.
Just the power of mime, right? Like that mime just cuts off an entire route and going to force you and your entire team to switch up position and give the enemy intel.
Speaking of that mime, Bruv locking up that Audino in the top, but look who's pressuring now. BMFB in the face of Ascendance here, and excellent on the verge of going down. They are able to they have to use the eject button now to get those berries and come back in. Mopwop going to work through their own Audinos, and Cryos is trying to push up front to give their team the breath that they need to get their own stuff and get their own levels rolling.
Yeah, Ascendance opting into skipping these double monkeys when they move down that lane. Definitely going to be trying to retreat back and get that Wigglytuff evolution, but Excellent needing this 9-minute crab to get that level up. And there we go. Now the Sing is online. It's a much more fair and contested fight here when it comes to bees.
Look at Bruv just hanging out, not even moving the character, just blast walls, uppercuts, bees down. And that's just a horde of experience that went over to BMFB there as they're a little bit ahead on the levels, I believe. Mopwop getting Eldegoss right there in the mix, which might have saved them after getting that Confused Blast barrier combo from Bruv. Well, I guess not Confused Blast just yet, but soon. And now Excellent, finally happy to have Sing, and they're going to be able to use that if they're not cut off by Bruv with those wall light screen. Just a natural blast here. Snow Points gets a KO on Excellent. KO streak of 2 for the Cotton Ball. Good night. Is that a cotton ball or an oak tree coming through hitting these players? Holy smokes.
Snow Points is an absolute sniper with this Leaf Tornado. Where I was praising Mopwop for setting up their team and moving in, instead Snow Points opts in to just delete the enemy team out of the server whenever they get in the situation. Nice dunk by Overlord, a little bit of a flex here. Only winning level by a little bit against Dexter. Definitely the bees must have went in favor of Ascendance in that top lane to get that slight advantage, meaning Jungle Book may hit that Dragonite before Gosu does. Making that Dreadnought fight a little bit easier for the orange side.
Gosu's here, though, and they're going to put the pressure on and use this player advantage to try and take some of these players on Ascendance out. Purple reeling back just a little bit. Didn't necessarily anticipate that, but that gives the green light for Jungle Book to come down as Overlord is pressuring Dexter back into their own goal zone, and they're happy with just scampering back and hiding in the grass yet again. But look at all of Ascendance just babysitting their goal zone, whereas BMFB is already posturing for these 720Bs. There they are, and they have that penciled in and penciled down, don't they? Like, it's just the same routine over and over again. Bruv, wall, uppercut, blast, move on, and then everybody clean up the rest. We got 7 minutes, 6 seconds on the clock, and that means Dreadnought is right around the corner as Jungle Book is looking to get into that action. We know they like to start that off with the Unite move. Let's see if they rip it again with that same maneuver. Nope, it's already getting worked on, and these teams are in here now. Good Lord, Dreadnought's already at 10%, like Hyper Beam, just closing it out, and that's Gosu easy peasy, making that Dreadnought look real easy, as Jungle Book didn't even have time to queue up their Hyper Beam to even contest that, and now the KOs are rolling in because, of course, and the level disparity is beginning to grow in this bottom lane as Overlord is hungry for that KO and is able to take out Snow Points.
Yeah, a little bit of vengeance for sure, and just moving through the entire team in collection here with Jungle Book. Yeah, definitely the main damage dealers on both these sides. Oh no! And Gosu actually stops the back from Jungle Book, forcing out this Unite move. Now the go button has been hit for Ascendance.
Yeah, Unite move comes in, and that was the cue for everybody. Mopwop getting some points in, Kyrios as well. Jungle Book getting their points in. Now the Pikachu does go down to the Bruv, the Mr. Mime. However, the other player's going to make it out unscathed as Overlord takes that Rotom against Dexter on that 1v1, and now they're chipping into Dexter, and they've got a considerable HP advantage. I was seeing if they're going to pressure, but I think Dexter went back and got some berries for their troubles, as Overlord is just content and hanging out and making their presence felt in a different way. Mopwop into the action, getting into those bees as well. So is Jungle Book.
Yeah, these bees actually lasting a little bit longer than we see normally, but nice KO by Jungle Book. I do not think that Bruv expected this jungler to still be in the bot lane instead of retreating and clearing out their own jungle. At this point, now Jungle Book is finally going to get that reset that they so desperately wanted first, but maybe the silver lining is they found that sneak attack KO on Bruv that they would not have otherwise gotten.
Yeah, and because of that, they were actually they hit level 11 before the other Dragonite, getting the experience off the KOs, then going back in the jungle. So it actually paid dividends in two axes there, getting the KOs and getting the experience here. As Snow Points and Chris Heroes are chasing down Mopwa. Here comes Jungle Book to cut it off, though, and a Unite move into the action and say, Dragon, you ain't coming after my team, buddy. Gosu getting in there. Excellence getting identified, and that's a Unite move by Bruv right into the middle of the Ascendance squad here, as all of BMFB is trying to get into the mix. Unite move by the Eldegoss Snow Points to pick the squad up. Jungle Book just barely makes it out, as I believe that was a Chris Heroes Unite move. And now Cryos, we're watching them bubble out, but here comes Dexter, and here comes Jungle Book and company here. Overlord going to try and find some targets for that E-Speed as they're working through, and now Dreadnaught's here. We didn't even see that come up because it's just been absolute kerfuffle down here, but Mopwop and Jungle Book working through. Mopwop, not a lot of HP left. Excellent sitting there, and of course, the right team takes it because all of BMFB had backed and just gotten out of there.
Yeah, and right there you see the power of the Wigglytuff when it comes to survivability. The Wigglytuff was able to Unite move and give a huge amount of barriers to their entire team, and oh my word, Overlord is a threat no matter what. If they're not KOing you, they are making you run all the way back to base or risk being KO'd at any objective. The amount of damage that they're putting out on this field is incredible right now.
Overlord is straight out of the Fast and the Furious movie. It's always on the go, pedal 100% all the time. 2 KOs for Mopwop, getting a little bit of cotton ball-based revenge from earlier in the game here. And that was all framed up by Overlord and those E-Speeds coming in. Just looking good. I mean, those E-Speeds look real clean. Overlord feeling very comfortable with their HP there, just getting more points in. Unite move come through, buddy barriers. And that's Unite move by the Dragonite for not a lot of action, but for the barrier, so maybe they can get their points in right away here.
Right now they're desperately trying to get those points in and break the top, but Chris Heroes using that Unite move stops them in their tracks from doing so. 179 to 47, so Ascendance still has the lead, but they would have loved that huge 50-point overdunk. But right now, Ted, Dexter, and Bruv are not giving it to them. But Overlord steals the Rotom!
Well, E-Speed, baby. Come on, what else is there? Overlord just feeling good. Takes the Rotom, takes an Apom, feels good, full pockets. You know, was it full pockets, full heart, can't lose. We'll adjust that quote. We'll work it in there. Dexter trying to get in the mix, but Overlord E-speeding everywhere. Targeted Dexter, then Bruv, and then moved through the rest of the squad because why not? TE Dexter hanging out, Snow Points. Everybody's backing now, trying to get some HP back up because we have 2 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock. And Rotom is, Dreadnaught's going to be here, and then of course the big bird in the middle is where we're going to then.
That's true. Rotom being stolen there was actually huge for Ascendance, not in terms of scoring, but preventing it from going into their own Tier 1 goal zone. Bad Macro Flipbird actually elected to let the Rotom hit the goal zone because they knew it would break. And wow, Ascendance is getting this Dreadnought for free. Instead, Bad Macro Flipbird decides they want early positioning and scoring on that top tier goal zone. They're going to get these points and break.
Dexter, the only one not with the squad here, is they're just reining in those points and get a good over dunk there on that top goal zone, as you mentioned. But this is the opportunity for Ascendance to square up and posture early on the Zapdos. You mentioned it. We'll see if they pull it out. Excellent doesn't have any consideration hiding. Neither does Cryos or Jungle Book. Mopwop doesn't either. And they're not about that hiding action, dog, as they're going right after the team straight in their face. But they're the first ones in the pit now, as Dexter's scoring 50 banger downstairs.
Yeah, a nice 100 ducat there down at the bottom, but Pit was completely given over to Ascendance. They were rotating, looking for the mime, but couldn't find him, and now that target is in their sights.
Yeah, and they're chasing them down, but there's the Hyper Beam from Gosu to try and stem Bruv from going down, who's able to back just in time, get out of the mess, get healed up, and get ready for more action here, as Overlord is just working through this squad alone. There's 3 players there. Snow Points comes in for the support. To try and take out Overlord, but that thing just can't go down. That's Unite move coming through the pike, able to clip into Gosu, as that Overlord is still up. Can you believe it? Mr. Mime using the Unite move, trying to stop this character somehow. And Pikachu takes a KO on Eldegoss, but Overlord is still above 50 HP, and that's Good Lord. They're knifing through the entire squad. And with Cryos on their back, hitching in their pocket, they're taking KOs everywhere. And Overlord's still feeling good working through. And, it's like, Chris Hero's coming for you. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
But he dodged the thunder. He dodged the thunder with the bone rush port. Oh, my word.
And they're able to take Zapdos because BMFB couldn't even engage into the pit. It was literally just the Dragonite by themselves. Just like, okay, I'll do it myself. Overlord just looking flashy. And they didn't go down for the last 90 seconds, Zoinks. It's the most impressive run of E-Speeds I've seen. Like you said, reset, get in. And they were mowing down BMFB.
Yeah, definitely throwing all kinds of hands into the enemy team. Did earn themselves a little bit of support coming out of Gyarados and Mop-Up and those respective Unite moves from both of their Pokemon. But definitely the aggression paid off for Overlord in that situation. Was able to bait out Gosu and Snowpoint's Unite moves before they were even in pit. That fight that brought those Unite moves was forced out in Bad Macro Flipbird's jungle. The go button was pressed, as we said before, and that left Jungle Book to just play solitaire beside Zapdos and get that massive objective. And from that point on, it was just score, and get as many KOs as you possibly can.
BMFB needs to find a way to contain Overlord. Oh boy. Yeah. You can tell that player is starting to feel it. They're starting to heat up, and they were quite literally on point, from minute 6 on. They were getting into the mix, and they were just right click, select all, backspace, delete. And they were just disappearing from the screen one after another. Very impressive run here. Game 2 in the bag, and it's squared up, which means we got a rubber match here for game 3 in the winter semifinals. Shiny League Emerald level event, the last one for the big tournament. And we're going to see who moves on to the finals. Ascendance and BMFB tied at 1. We'll be right back. Winners semifinals between BMFB, Bad Macro Flipbird, easiest name to say in the game, and Ascendance tied at 1, which means, obviously, we need to have a game 3. Winner punches their ticket to the finals, guaranteed to be there. The other has to fall to the losers bracket and keep slogging through if they want a chance at the grand prize here in the grand finals. But for now, game 3 on the horizon. Team comps aren't changing up. BMFB, Ascendance, ready to go. We're just going to jump straight back into the action, Zoinks. There's no sense in lollygagging or stalling it out. We're excited for the action. Let's bring it to the folks right now. Any changes in laning? Highly doubt it. So let's start talking about what BMFB can do to contain Overlord.
To contain Overlord, I think they need to set up more of what they did in that first game. All of that Zapdos positioning in that final fight went in the favor of Ascendance. If you remember, that pit was completely theirs, and that let Overlord find any kind of flank they needed and was able to run wild. So definitely need to be positioned a little bit better, and maybe a earlier ultimate out of Snow Points to get those buddy barriers and healing right off the beginning.
They're pushing into this Audino BMFB, finding their footing again and able to pressure onto the other side of the field. And Excellent forced to just back out and bail out again as the pressure was too strong from BMFB in that bottom lane. 16-13, 16-18 on the scoreboard, and that's all from the work on the top in that top lane between those two Lucarios.
Yeah, trading scores like ships in the night for sure. But yeah, Overlord and Dexter have been both incredible Lucario players. I mean, we were talking up that hype clip moment coming out of Overlord in that last game, but Dexter is definitely still one of the best top laners in the world, but definitely NA. So still great contest. Gosu actually choosing to rotate to the bottom lane instead of the top in this situation. That's going to make things really tough on Dexter.
Yeah, putting all the faith in Dexter to hold it up, and that means they're going to try and pressure because they've got the Pokemon advantage here in the bottom lane. You already see the points raining in. That's 40 points just in the face of Ascendance here, and they're not able to stem any of that as now Gosu says, I did my job, I'm backing out. But there you go. Pikachu gets a KO right back by the other Pikachu as they're just eating each other up, taking out the opposing support players. Eldegoss goes down on one, Wigglytuff on the other. Dexter on the verge, though, and Overlord not going to close it out. Elects to just peel back and not over pressure and get themselves caught. Gosu going back to the jungle. Chris Hero's chipping into Cryos as the two Pikachus are staring each other down, shooting little lightning bolts across the fields here.
Yeah, not to no avail. I think the focus band coming out of both Chris and Kiro. So definitely earning a little bit of value even when it comes to just that early poke damage. So if you notice also on your minimap, Excellent going to be moving up and finding those middle camps and even going up for a little bit of intel looking for Gosu, trying to predict whether Gosu is going to rotate to top Bs or bottom Bs for this second setup. Overlord in this bush loves that situation, likes to be in the middle to be able to flank from either side here. Nice thing from Excellent to begin this team fight.
Yeah, but now they're caught behind a wall. Let's see if BMFB can make them play. They do not. They have to switch their focus here as Jungle Book came in for the support. 7 minutes, 21 seconds on the clock. Dreadnought right around the corner here. And now the Bees kind of go all to BMFB. Nobody on Ascendance is there to pressure, and that might cause that level disparity to go up as, of course, the first objective is going to hit the map here that we're going to contest for, and that's Dreadnought.
Nice spacing at a BMFB. They have all the positioning right now, but at this point, Curios goes for a nice flank on bottom beach. This is going to make it nice even. 50-50 on either side, 4-on-4, who can get this Dreadnought early. No one's starting to rip, opting in for a little bit of poke damage and team fight, but Jungle Book decides to engage with the Unite move and the Sing at Excellent.
Yeah, it gets the shields going, but doesn't touch anybody with that kind of dragon falling from the sky there, and that allows all BMFB to push back into the squad as those buddy barriers are shot down. And oh, there you go. Dexter comes in and is able to take the objective here. Overlord takes them out for to kind of catch him a receipt on that. But here we go. The pressure's coming in, and now Jungle Book and Ascendance is pushing back towards BMFB in their goal zone here. And of course, I say that, and Curios, Excellent, and Jungle Book all forced to retreat because maybe the pressure was not as strong as they thought they had here. As now they're just chipping into Gosu, making sure they clear the way, get out of the bottom lane here, and Overlord back to where they belong up top.
Yeah, definitely a one fight and engagement coming out of Bad Macro Flipper. The experience is going all in their favor. Ascendance has a lot of work to do, especially as Dexter starts to begin to work on this Rotom. Right now, not much points in their team, but uses the Unite move to secure.
Good by Dexter getting the bottom objective, coming up top, getting that objective too. He's got to be feeling pretty good.
Well, doesn't actually. Overlord was able to steal it with an extreme speed last minute. If you notice that Rotom is actually headed towards Bad Macro Flipbird.
Good night. I was so focused on that Unite move that I completely missed that. Good catch, Zoinks, and now the fight is on. And Overlord's feeling it as Jungle Book gets into the fray on the Unite move. What a way to travel across the map. Hyper Beam goes a little errant, doesn't touch Overlord quite, but that gives Gosu a little bit of real estate to get through their jungle.
It's true. Honestly, that Dragonite Unite move is the first and probably closest we'll ever get to what's called a global in any kind of MOBA. Global being a teleport across the entire map. Probably a good idea seeing as the Unite map is so small, but really good Dragonite players are just now starting to learn how to utilize it in the best way. And right now, I think Gosu is showing that off. If you can teleport that far and find a nice, easy score with all those Score Shield and Buddy Barrier situations, that is a ton of value in your team.
Absolutely. I mean, well sought out and well done. They're able to get a good chunk of that goal zone axed off there by those points. And, you know, we even saw Overlord chip in, but not able to stop them as now the fight's bringing out in the bottom lane. Nobody's worse for wear. Nobody's gone down yet as all of BMFB kind of bubbles out. There's Bruv to buy into the team here as Excellent tries to sing into the middle. And there you go. Snowpoint seals up that Dreadnought. Now the pressure's going back the other way because those shields and experience matter. Chris Heroes gets the first KO of the exchange here, and all of BMFB still pushing into the lane. Dragonite gets one on Dexter, and here comes Jungle Book. And of course, Gosu able to get a KO themselves here. And BMFB still working in the middle, feeling good. Nobody down on their side of the board anymore as people are coming back out of the spawn points from either teleporting or having been KO'd. And Gosu rolling up top as we have Rotom here in just a few moments.
Yeah, this is the story of this entire game. 3 minutes, 55 seconds, and only 101 to 110 for BMFB and Ascendance, respectively. This game is all about these objectives, but as soon as they swing, neither team is finding any more value past them. And I don't want to undersell how much that experience lead is giving them, but these points just aren't happening, which means, oh my word, and Jungle Book, sorry, just Jungle Book steals the Rotom, just normal Jungle Book things. Fantastic work. It's going to use the Unite move to stay up still, but it's found by Hyper Beam.
Yeah, Hyper Beam seems to find its way to everybody's soul, and it hurts when it gets there, my friend. As now Overlord sees all these players, and they're feeling the E-Speed and the Bone Rush, going to run around and try and pressure the Pokemon out from the goal zone, keep it from getting closed, and they're pretty successful. Excellent making their way across the map here, going back downstairs.
Yeah, actually able to prevent Gosu from dunking that gigantic 50 bomb, which would give them the lead going into this final Dreadnought and Zapdos fight. But instead, they don't have that lead, and now they're going to be in a much worse situation when it comes to having to contest the Zapdos. No longer are they just Zapdos defenders, they're going to need to be Zapdos engagers. And at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, it's going to be close.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even know why those bees populate, right? Just cut all the experience, split it between 10 people, and just move on. I think it would be an exercise in futility to try and change it any other way. Jungle Book already posturing against around Dreadnought, which is something we've seen them do game one, and they just Ascendance all over it. They want to flip this thing ASAP before BMFB can kind of get around. Look where Overlord is at the top here, but there you go. Dexter able to come in and nab it at the last second. So I don't have to do all the work. I just have to do the last bit of it as the Unite move comes through, and that's an early Unite move right before Zapdos, and Jungle Book can't be happy about using that there as they need to get the Buddy Barrier to protect that goal zone. But here comes Bruv and Gosu on the chase after that Dragon and seeing if they can get Jungle Book to peel. Zapdos is here, my friend.
Yeah, Jungle Book not going to take too long to farm that Unite move. Remember, it only uses about 25% charge at minimum range, which that had to be pretty close to. Overlord getting a nice 100 back cap here, and now the onus is absolutely on Bad Macro Flipper. They have to engage now, and Bruv leads the charge.
There you go. That's a Unite move by Mopwop coming in to pick up Jungle Book so Jungle Book can get in there and fight. And they take it. They take it. Now they just have to convert. They have to convert. But there goes down 2 players. They're down 2 players. There's 88 in. Now we're moving through 298 to 151. Excellent there. Overlord getting worked on by Chris Heroes. And we're going to see how many more points go in. That's an 80 for Ascendance. That's another 100 for Ascendance. Oh my, BMFB.
Two 100 points coming in for Bad Macro Flipbird. Bruv has 50 in pocket right now, 295 to 478. A minute 10 left on this game. This is lots of time for Bad Macro Flipbird to farm up and to get those pockets more full. There's just not much free money on the map right now. Chaos Energy is going to be hard to come by, but if they can earn it, this game is winnable. Only 54 seconds on the clock.
Gosu got to finish. Gosu and Snowpoint's got to put the pressure on Jungle Book and close that out. But here comes Excellent to cut off that pressure with a Sing, forcing Snowpoints and Gosu to take the path of least resistance, and that's around the Sing so they don't get put to sleep. Hyper Beam comes through, finds Cryos, as Cryos is putting the pressure on with a Thunder. There's a Leaf Tornado and a Sing again, bubbling out Gosu easy peasy. They know that's who's going to slide this thing, and they can't let them pop off here in the last 28 seconds. But now all of BMFB is together, and they're pushing right into the gut of the goal zone here as Dexter finds their way. Look at all those Unite moves flying. Holy smokes. They get a 52-pointer in. Wigglytuff gets a KO on Eldegoss, but they're not done working here as the Dragonite gets more points in. Gosu easy peasy cannot be stopped. Hyper Beam's finding their mark. There's 3 players down and not enough time, and I don't think they converted here as Overlord takes a KO streak of 2 with the few last seconds left.
Man, what incredible macro play coming out of Ascendance in that last minute. Bad Macro Flipbird was able to stack up and get actually a few Unite moves off to buff those Buddy Barriers and score shields to put some points into the end of the game. But look at that. 598. It was all from Jungle Book's crazy flank at the end of the game. They still technically would have won, but I want to shout this out. They were able to rotate all the way back down to the other side into Bad Macro Flipbird's base, into that home goal zone, and was able to dunk 100 points while Bad Macro Flipbird was on their last hope and prayer, throwing in those points again and again. But Jungle Book just looks at them from across the map, smiles a cheeky grin, and throws in 100 points into that home tier goal zone. Incredible macro play from Ascendance.
No, it looked great, and we're checking out the stat sheet here, the battle data, and I'll tell you what, the thing that sticks out to me right now, Overlord has as many KOs as all of BMFB combined.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, a pretty low KO game if we're talking about it in general. Like I said, you said 6 to total 6 on the other side, but that really was the story of the game, wasn't it? It was so much huge team fights with such few KOs. I think Bad Macro Flipbird and Ascendance are 2 of the most measured, calculated, but also safe teams. I think the only player out of either of these teams that is really extending hard when any kind of situation like that and pushing their advantage is going to be Overlord on Ascendance's side and Dex and maybe Gosu on Bad Macro Flipbird's side. But in this situation, it paid off for Ascendance, and their macro play secured them this win. despite losing, by the way, 3 out of 3 dreadnoughts. I just put 3 out of 3 dreadnoughts.
Yeah, the objectives weren't flowing their way, but they had they had their guardian angel and overlord hanging out, who was, if there was any game for an e-speed, I mean, it was, excuse me, any series for an e-speed, it was this, because the way that BMFB moves, e-speed just opened up for, again, all of those dash resets that you mentioned, and able to allow them to keep going and going and going, Energizer Bunny style, and they did not let up. Whatever measured, calculated approach that Ascendance had, they didn't give Overlord the message. He's like, you know what, gas is on the right, I'm gonna slam that to the floor and see where it takes me. And it took them to the finals of this event.
Yeah, just that, some would call it blind aggression, but if you were really watching, it is careful and well mechanical using plays. Definitely Overlord, a master of this Lucario, and they're the number 1 Lucario in my book for sure. Incredible play from Overlord, incredible play for Ascendance. They earned their place in the winners finals of the final Shiny League Emerald event.
There you go. On behalf of Unite Mike's Kirk, doobsnax, Dubé, Josh, Zoinks, Hiebert. And we'll catch you next time.